Hello everyone, and welcome back to Lady Show English. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects almost every couple: money disagreements in relationships. This is not just a news story, it's a real-life issue that many of us face. So let's learn some useful English while exploring expert advice on handling financial conflicts with your partner. Money is a sensitive subject for most couples. But why exactly? According to Thomas Foppel, a therapist who specializes in money issues, we all have different rule books around money. This phrase rulebook is interesting. It means the personal set of rules or guidelines we follow. Just like in sports, everyone plays by different rules when it comes to spending and saving. Let me teach you a key vocabulary word here: fraught. When we say money is a fraught issue, we mean it's filled with anxiety and tension. The word fraught always describes something stressful or problematic. For example, their relationship was fraught with difficulties, or the situation is fraught with danger. It's a more sophisticated way to say full of problems. Now, here's an important insight from the experts. Our money behaviors don't come from nowhere. They're influenced by our childhood experiences. If you grew up in a family that saved every penny, you might feel anxious about spending. If your parents spent freely, you might have a different approach. This background shapes how we view money as adults, and it explains why partners often clash over financial decisions. The article identifies 3 major types of financial disagreements. Let's explore each one and learn some useful expressions along the way. First, there's the classic saving versus spending conflict. One partner might have a much higher bar to feel secure. Notice this phrase, a higher bar. In English, when we talk about raising the bar or having a higher bar, we mean setting a higher standard or requirement. In this case, one person needs more money saved to feel comfortable. Meanwhile, the other partner might prioritize living for today. The expert says both perspectives are right, which is a diplomatic way of acknowledging that neither approach is wrong. Second, we have disagreements about debt. Whether couples get into debt together, or one partner brings debt into the relationship, it becomes what the article calls fertile ground for a fight. This is a wonderful metaphor. Fertile ground originally means soil that's good for growing plants. But we use it figuratively to mean a situation that's likely to produce something, usually problems or conflicts. For example, miscommunication is fertile ground for workplace disputes. The third common conflict involves disparities in wealth. Disparity is an excellent word to add to your vocabulary. It means a clear difference or inequality between things. We often use it in formal contexts. You might hear income disparity, wealth disparity, or education disparity. In relationships, when one partner earns significantly more than the other, it can lead to uncomfortable discussions about who has more say over money decisions. Notice that phrase, who has more say. When someone has more say in something, they have more influence or decision-making power. Now let's look at the experts' advice for handling these conflicts better. The article suggests we need to reframe how we view disagreements. To reframe something means to look at it from a different perspective or to change how we think about it. It's like putting a new frame on a picture, same picture, different presentation. The first question to ask yourself is about timing. The article uses a wonderful expression: couples often go off at the wrong moment. When someone goes off, it's an informal way to say they lose their temper or start arguing emotionally. Heather Boneparth shares a personal example about bickering over money at 5:30 in the evening while their babies were throwing food. Bickering is a useful word. It means arguing about small, unimportant things. It's different from a serious fight. Bickering is more like constant small disagreements. Here's a fascinating story from the article that illustrates the second question. Is what we're arguing about really the issue? A wife had a meltdown after her husband bought an extra croissant. A meltdown is when someone loses emotional control, usually over something that seems small. But the croissant wasn't really the problem. The deeper issue was that the wife felt her husband wasn't living up to their agreement. Notice this phrasal verb, living up to. When you live up to something, you meet the expectations or fulfill a promise. For example, the movie didn't live up to the hype, or she lived up to her reputation as an excellent teacher. The third question encourages starting with what's going right. This is connected to a useful phrase, going into a discussion. When we go into something, we're entering or beginning it. The experts warn against going in with criticisms. Instead, they suggest starting with appreciation. This approach helps both partners stay engaged, meaning they remain interested and actively involved in the conversation. The final section discusses reaching compromise. Here's an important insight. Even if you and your partner always approach money differently, you still need to make joint decisions you can both live with. That phrase live with is very common in English. When you can live with a decision, it means you can accept it, even if it's not perfect. For example, I don't love this solution, but I can live with it. The article uses investing as an example. If one person is risk-averse, meaning they avoid risks, and the other isn't, they need to focus on their shared goals. Keep your eye on the prize is the idiom used here. This colorful expression means to stay focused on your ultimate goal, especially when facing difficulties. The prize is what you're working toward. The solution might be incremental, which means happening gradually in small steps rather than all at once. This is an important word in both personal and professional contexts. You might hear about incremental changes, incremental improvements, or incremental progress. Finally, the article ends with a beautiful insight about risk and relationships. While appetite for risk is individual, our capacity for risk is joint because we're together. Appetite for is a useful phrase that means desire or willingness to accept something. We often say appetite for risk, appetite for adventure, or appetite for change. So there you have it, expert advice on handling money conflicts in relationships, along with plenty of useful English vocabulary and expressions. We've learned words like fraught, disparity, and incremental, and phrases like living up to, keep your eye on the prize, and fertile ground for conflict. I hope this lesson has been helpful both for your English learning and for your personal life. Remember, on Ladies Show English, we share timely and practical English lessons through news about health, food, travel, business, technology, and the environment. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a lesson. Thank you for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.